Welcome to Film Garden.
Again.
The only place where we've got a fan of The Last Jedi and a critic of The Last Jedi. And we are here to finally see if we can find some kind of middle ground.
I get the impression that with this film there isn't going to be a middle ground.
There goes your solo can that's been blown away.
To show me my place in all this.
I have my Coca-Cola. I believe Maddie should be holding the Coca-Cola because I think Coca-Cola, being the giant bloody industry that it is, reflects Disneyland. Which is a point we'll make in a second. Look at this can that's been rolling. We saw it about 4 days ago or 5 days ago.
Right. It was Monday.
It was Thursday night.
Yeah, 4 or 5 days ago. Yeah.
So we've had time to reflect. This is the first time we're catching up after seeing it together.
Yes.
And we were excited. Your expectations, I think ultimately that's what.
I think that's a big factor in it as well.
Yep.
Because I went there with no expectations.
And I went in with big expectations.
High expectations.
Yep.
And I think this is actually universal. I think almost any time I've seen someone go in there with big expectations for a film, they've almost always been disappointed. And I think it's a factor of you come in with an expectation of what you want to see.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't pan out, you get disappointed. Well, if I went in with no expectations about what's going to happen...
And no theories about what was going to happen?
No.
That's a key difference.
Yeah.
That's a key difference because for 2 years people have been theorising. And
I've stayed away a lot of that stuff.
I know, but it's a natural byproduct of people who are invested in a franchise.
Sure.
Who's that? What's it? Like, people try and get ahead of the game nowadays, and because the internet's there to display it all,
and I think
we have these public theories.
Well, I can see a lot of that in the film, that they've taken those expectations and subverted them.
Yeah. And my issue is that
90% of the time I found that really good.
Yeah.
That they've taken in a direction that you didn't expect that was still good.
That's where I'm going to put the contention that no, it's not good. And it's not good in the context of not only the Star Wars universe as the universe that we know and love, but the whole idea of what good storytelling is.
Okay.
But like, I respect your opinion on all the films that we've kind of shared and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just almost like a social experiment. I'm curious to see what your contentions are for some of the points that I've seen that a lot of the internet YouTubers have brought up, and I've boiled it down to 7 things.
Something inside me has always been there.
So we saw the movie.
Yes, we did.
And we kind of came out a bit stunned. I think we were both
stunned in our own way. Your immediate response was long.
Yeah. I even said that in the review. The first thing I said was, fuck, that was long.
Yeah.
My first feeling walking out of this movie was, fuck, that was long.
I agree with him in that. I do agree that it's a long film. There's a lot packed into it. And I don't mind that. I think for rewatchability, it's actually going to be pretty fun. But my immediate reaction was I was really happy and excited. I'm just going to clarify right now, and Joe, that I'm on the opposite end of you right now.
Yeah.
Because I haven't walked away from a film with such almost childlike just joy from a film. And there's no way you're going to crush that, because I accept that other people have different opinions. But I don't think it would have to go probably back to the Matrix, the original Matrix, to walk away from a film and go, wow.
That long ago.
Yeah, so it's been a long time.
I envy you, Matty.
I envy you. You should envy me.
You're in the winner's seat here. Like, us salty fans are really, like, we are Ben Kenobi. Yeah. We are in the dark side. We are torn to pieces. You're the Ray. You're the hope. So good on you. But hope. I don't want to ruin. And I'm not.
And some of the stuff I can argue, some of the stuff I can't, and I was discussing it with Ben, my brother, who also enjoyed it. And
Ben!
It's very similar interest to me.
Mm-hmm.
There were some areas that, interestingly, that he thought was corny and silly, but just let go, and that I actually liked. and we had a bit of reverse backwards and forwards with that sort of stuff. But a lot of the stuff we coincide that we really enjoy.
All right, now, throughout this discussion, I want you to see if you can noodle 3 questions for me.
Okay.
All right? 3 questions, because I don't want this to be an attack from the dark side over here. I want you to be able to kind of like, you surely must question, based on the research you've done and the reviews you've seen that's been negative, you must have some kind of like questions for the dark side, surely.
Not really, I don't care. You're all wrong. No.
Yeah.
I respect the fact that everyone is different. And the ultimate fact is, the more I think about it, the more I think about the fact that they're trying to make a film that literally is appealing to millions of people. And they've got so many different audiences that they are appealing to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to get to everyone. The simple fact is. And I think the Star Wars fans have been hit the most because they come in with, this is Star Wars. This is what I want to see. And when I don't see it, I get all cranky pants.
Now here's the thing.
Yeah.
A film has a market, and Star Wars has a given, and they rank in the millions.
They do rank in the millions, but I'm not
That's why
saying
it makes
it's
Star
a given
Wars
market, because you've got to appreciate the fact that you've got the Star Wars fans who are just getting into it. You've got the Star Wars fans who like Episode 1, 2, and 3, however brainless they might be, and yes, I'm talking about you guys.
Who are they?
And then I met a guy, they're the sort of late teens.
Yeah.
Who grew up on, watched Episode 1, 2, and 3 when they were like 6 or 8 and really enjoyed it, and now they've grown up and go,
but they don't have the same. But they don't have the same obsession with Star Wars as we do.
No, not to the same degree. They haven't had the time to let it fester like you guys.
What are the other markets that they're going for?
The other markets are traditional Star Wars fans who grew up on Episode 1, 4, 5, and 6.
The bulk of who they should be targeting.
I don't know whether you're going to say that that's the bulk, because I grew up in that category, and we were a minority. We became a majority when Episode 1, 2, and 3 came out. We became much more popular after that. And there's multiple versions of these kinds of fans.
Because you've got
the really old school fans who like, this is Star Wars. Yeah. This is what I want to see.
You've got the fans of the expanded universe.
Sort of like expanded universe,
yes.
We've read Thrawn and Han Solo stories and all that sort of stuff. So,
whereas I'm more of a just the films and not the original, not the prequels, just the original, which I think are at the core of the fandom. I know the expanded universe fans are like full-on fans, but it still was all from the movies. There was the movies first, so we were like the OG fans.
And see, this is, I think, where we're going to argue, because I actually think that this film shows a great deal of reverence back to the original series, and I think we're going to disagree.
This is interesting. That's what I'd like to explore. Yeah. Okay, so how should we do this? Did you want to kind of give your reasons? Like, I think we could walk through the film almost. I think there's for me, there's like 7 key areas of the film chronologically that we can kind of flip back to. First of all, just not to start on neutral ground, because we started on neutral ground when the opening crawl comes out. What did you think, and what do you remember of that opening crawl?
The words? Nothing.
The story. Exactly.
Admittedly, I don't remember any of the other ones either.
Luke Skywalker is missing, has gone. Like, that opening bit of the Force Awakens was awesome. Luke Skywalker has vanished. That's what the opening words. It sets up the conflict in one sentence. The opening sentence of this, I can't recall for the fucking life of me.
What's kind of really funny is if it does actually turn out to be a line that you look at and go, wow, it's probably not. But it would just be funny if it does.
We need to go.
I don't remember any of the crawls, but
But what were you feeling at that point?
I remember reading through and going, okay, the Resistance about to get crushed or whatever it was going to say, and their last hope, blah 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 blah.
Piecing things together.
I'm like, okay, well, where are we going to start? What's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And then fucking Poe, whatever his name is, comes out. I'm horrible with names. Poe comes out in the X-Wings, and it's fucking unbelievable.
That whole, I remember enjoying... Look, just to get the record straight, I did enjoy big parts of this film. I remember feeling like I was enjoying it. But I also there were these key milestones that spun my wheels momentarily, and that I've that was one of those ones that I did enjoy the opening sequence. But now that people, and I am influenced by a lot of YouTubers, but they're just kind of confirming what I was suspecting. A couple of things wrong with that. Let's start there.
Yeah, okay.
The humour at the start.
Specifically.
You've got Hux overacting as this fucking dickhead in the cockpit, in the, what do you call that area? The control area, the bridge. And he has this like almost like a monologue where he's like, "We're going to destroy every single one of you." And then there's that pause, and then Poe's like, "Okay, I'll wait."
But that's been done before. Like, Poe, when he talked to Kylo, was exactly the same. It's the exact same
he was trolling him.
Humor.
Yeah, and actually, I chuckled at that bit.
Put them off balance.
Yeah, but the thing is,
and make him do something stupid like send the dreadnought in.
Now, I like the Kylo Ren scene as well with Poe's humour, but this is an example now of how they've taken that humour and ran with it, because this is a contemporary humour. This is troll humour.
Yes.
And the key difference between that humour and the original Star Wars humour is that the humour remained on the light side. It remained between the characters who are on the goody side. This film, and Force Awakens now, in hindsight, the humour happens between the good guys and the bad guys, which undermines the bad guys. There's no humour in any of the Empire scenes. You pick one humorous moment, except for a fucking stormtrooper accidentally bumping his head. That was funny.
It was not. I like when Darth Vader chokes people. I always laugh at that. And I believe there's some scenes that are quite humorous with that. Those moments are meant to be. Yeah, it was evil versus evil, and those moments are meant to be cooler than funnier. This is where it's coming in, where Star Wars has to move with the times to a certain degree.
Of course, yeah.
And while the humour in the 90s was great, and it probably would have worked too in this, but this is probably again where it is appealing to the younger audience who's going to really feed off that.
And I think that's one of the sticking points between us, is that you're okay with it being aimed at kids, whereas I'm not.
Well, like, Star Wars is aimed at kids.
But it's sort of the original Star Wars were, but many grown-ups loved it, and I loved it as a kid, but as in a respectful, mature way, not a kiddie kind of, Peter Pan way.
True, but there is elements in this film that are far more adult, that kids are not going to get, but adults will, and that will grow with them over time, same as what Star Wars did. With Star Wars, its actual main themes, its storyline is pretty simple, but as you get older, you see the deeper storylines there.
That's true.
And these ones are almost more obvious, that the kids are going to see it and see just holographic projections, and you're going to look back, they're going to grow up and work out these connections to real life wars and all this sort of stuff, and they're going to get that. So
I think
they're doing the same thing, but just different storytelling techniques.
All right, okay. Let's put a pin in that one, because that's going to come up again. That's going to come up again when we go to the Casino Planet. About kids and Target and Disney and all that. Okay, so we had that opening sequence. Great. People have brought up the issue with why didn't the Dreadnought have a shield, and why was Poe able to kind of take out those things, and then they just were able to kind of take it. Yeah, there's a lot of confusion. Can you clarify some of the shield confusion that's going on?
My understanding of it, just on what I've seen, which is only once.
Yeah.
He had that super rocket that launched him forward really fast, basically almost at light speed.
And that penetrated the shield.
Because he went so fast, he probably went through the oscillations of the shield, or went into hyperspace and basically just.
So he just went boom.
That's why when he almost crashed into it, because he was going so fast.
So that's how he penetrated the shield. Good. Yes. Okay. Cool. I'm cool with that. Then he takes out those cannons.
Yes.
And that's all good. Then I think basically the plot kind of, does it go to the island after that?
No, there's a bombing run.
They do the bombing. That was a great opening sequence for that character. That was really good.
Specifically, to get my 2 cents in about why I like this film, is it shows great reverence to the source material for Star Wars Empire and Jedi. That he drew a lot from real warfare. He wanted the X-Wings to look like dogfighters.
Yeah,
sort of stuff.
yeah.
And those are big, rumbling B-52 bombers.
Yeah.
Big, slow bombers with massive... And it looks almost like it's a space version of them. And I love that. I think, again, it shows for me, my perspective, and again, that's different from yours, that the director, and I'm thinking the director and the writer, Rian Johnson, goes, where did he draw his inspiration? And he drew it from there as well.
In
For me,
terms
that
of the
shows
in
great
terms
deal
of the
respect.
war aspects, definitely,
Yeah.
because one of the things I said in the review on the light side was that I enjoyed the war aspects because they felt like a war film. It was almost like a,
And the whole thing with the I just see it as so much of what I saw the Rebel Alliance was. These people just fighting with everything they had. And you could see that girl who was in the bombing ship, the last one that actually blew up the dreadnought, she knew she was going to die. You know, her pilot's gone. Even if she manages to bomb it,
right to the end,
going to crash.
Yeah.
But the only thing she cares about is getting those bombs out and saving the people on the planet. I go, that to me is just so Star Wars down the line.
Which is an interesting connection they make to the end when Finn, and we'll put a pin in this as well, but when Finn goes to do the same thing, but is stopped.
Yes.
I want to hear what you think about that when we get to that. All right, now, so Luke, I think we both chuckled when he threw the lightsaber over his shoulder.
Oh yeah, I chuckled.
I think I chuckled. I thought that was funny.
I love it.
I thought maybe it was funny in a way that he was kind of being a bit of a Yoda and testing her, but it turns out
as Luke just being a prick.
Yeah, and now you love.
I love that because to
what
me,
did you
that is so totally in character with what he was at the moment. Because he's so angry, so stuck in the past, as Yoda points out to him, and just goes, "Fuck this! This is a reminder of what I was, and a reminder of my failure. Fuck that."
All right, okay.
Throw it over the shoulder.
Why? Let me ask you a question.
Sure, go.
Why did he go to the island?
To get away from everything.
Then why did he leave a map?
Well, I don't think he left actually a map. I think R2 kept records, which was half the map.
Well, I don't know. Now you're stretching a bit here.
No,
because
I'm not stretching because
I recall
R2 had half the map.
He had a piece of the map. Yeah. There was a cookie trail left behind, and I don't think you're then kind of making the assertion that R2 went against maybe programming and decided for himself to kind of choose to keep a piece of the puzzle where Luke is.
They didn't have the chip or whatever it was, which could have been someone that worked with Luke.
Was the droid the droid had the information? Yeah, he
guy had it.
How did he get it?
That's what we don't know.
Okay, so
there could be numerous ways that he got it, because it could have been some relation to the original Force, the Jedi temple that he built. Mm-hmm. Then maybe they kept a record from there to where he was going.
I think you're kind of cherry picking a little bit here, because I think the tone.
Again,
I think
there was the chip was one part, and R2 had the other. And R2 could have just kept a record up to a point, which was the point that he was left behind, because he's left back at the place.
Where was he left? Oh yeah, he's left down in the
Resistance.
Maz's?
No, he's at the Resistance. He's with the Resistance.
Or wasn't he on the? No, R2 was on the Millennium Falcon. Pretty sure he was.
He was in the Resistance. One of the.
Oh, he was in the. Yeah, that's right. He was in the background somewhere. He was shut down. He was shut down because Luke had gone away.
Yes.
Now, okay. So I think.
So he had up to a point, and then someone else revealed the path that Luke took the rest of the way. So I don't know.
So he decides to not train her, and he's overcome with this demon that he has.
And again, actually, it kind of makes sense, because he's staying at an old Force temple, the oldest Force temple.
Yeah.
And so if someone had, the old guy, whoever he was, had connections, had the route, the hidden route, that you have to go somewhere, like a treasure map. You have to go from this point. That's where R2 left him. That's why he had the map up to that point. And then the other person had the original map, which took him to the original Force temple.
So, in your mind,
yes,
I think that's a bit of a stretch. But in your mind, Luke didn't want to be found, and I think that Luke perhaps started off wanting. Hang on, just wanted to.
But he
maybe
was admittedly at the original Force temple, so there's not a lot of people who know it's there, but.
Yeah, there's surely
got to be someone, which may be an old guy standing out on a little desert planet.
Maybe. Anyway, so I fundamentally disagree. I can understand that he has conflict, and he's kind of and to a point, it looked like he was, and he does change and start to train her and stuff like that.
Only after Yoda kicks his butt, I'm pretty certain.
No, I think it was before that. It was when R2-D2 showed him Leia's message, which I loved, that cool moment. And he's like, "That's a cheap shot," and I like that. That was cool. But from that point on, apart from giving her the taste of what the actual Force is, there's no actual training. Like, you don't see any... Compare the Yoda and people are going to go, well, you don't want to rehash Yoda and Luke, but fundamental, not a montage, but fundamental true student-teacher master relationships.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that, because
where
I don't
was
think Luke was
the
in
training?
a position to train anyone at that point.
Look, he was flipping over cliffs and doing all this cool shit. Just fundamental swordsmanship. A lot of people had a contention. It didn't strike me in the movie at the time because I thought it looked really cool because of all the moves. But, you know, she's gone from being quite kind of like capable with the bow staff to being like a master mover of the sword, of the lightsaber, without any physical training.
Well, that I'll let go in two respects. One, she's grown up with a very combative lifestyle, so adapting to a new weapon, I sort of let go. Mm-hmm. Two, she's obviously very gifted with the Force.
Mm-hmm. So why would you need training?
To get better. Because right now...
What does she need training for?
She'd have no chance of taking on Luke if Luke wanted to kick her butt.
Bullshit. She actually overcomes him.
When?
There's a scene where they have a little bit of a sparring and she whacks him in the back of the head. And they have like a moment where they're facing off, but I think she kind of bests him.
Well, I don't think he's like... His heart's not in that. He's not trying to kill his student again.
Yeah, but you've got to
fucked up at that
Imagine like replace Luke with a master from Kill Bill. He would have just had a fucking eating rice with a bloody broken fingers.
And there was a lack of that, but also the way I see it is that Luke is more the person travelling in that journey than she is. He's the one who actually goes through the most. By actually her presence there.
There are things I liked about his character in that he reveals his thoughts on the Jedi Council and they're a bunch of hacks. I like that. It acknowledges all of that prequel shit.
Prequel stuff, which, you know, you may not like the films, but it acknowledges the story, and yes, they fucked that.
Yep. But, like, then he has this interesting notion that the Force is not light or dark, that there's a balance. There's like a mix.
Yeah.
I thought it would be better if she brought that to him, because he has this temple there. He has this. He obviously has some, you know, still some respect for the light side, even though he's abandoned the Force and things like that. Yeah. But he's, in my mind, he's of the old school generation of the storytellers of that time in the 80s when it was black and white. You know, Russians and Americans and Nazis and
KGB versus CIA.
There was a much more much more binary kind of theme flowing around those days. Whereas now we know a bit better. There's, you know, we're a bit more evolved in that way. But he has that insight himself. Yet it's still the thing that's keeping him locked in his behaviour, because if you acknowledge that, you have the sense you've gotten over it. But he hasn't. It's still
I don't think what he's getting over has to do with the Force. It's an emotional turmoil.
Yeah,
but it's
still
a the Force because of that.
It's the reflection of your choices you make. You either make good choices or bad choices, and you know the choice he made in that split second, which we'll get to, and I think we should talk about in a second. But maybe we'll move away from the island for a moment, and we'll get back to that. Anyway, what about after that? What about Finn's reintroduction as a character?
I've read a lot
and
of
his
stuff
entire subplot. Because I'm going to wrap Casino, Planet, and Phasma into this. So
yes,
give us your thoughts on Finn.
Okay, Finn for me is. I know I got an argument with Ben about this because he doesn't agree with me in this, but I see him as the Han Solo character, and this is where you're going. The Han Solo character, in terms of in Star Wars, he's got a foot in and out of the camp.
Yeah,
and Finn's in the exact same spot.
Don't you think he's taken the full step into the light?
No, because he took it for Rey. Rey's gone.
Yeah,
he wakes up. She's gone. He's about to get into an escape pod and leave.
Was that what he was doing?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to find the code breaker.
Well, he was leaving so that when Rey comes, she doesn't come to this spot. Again, he's just trying to protect Rey. Because he got the tracker.
See, I forgot I completely forgot about this fucking tracker.
So for me, he's the foot in and out of the camp.
Yeah.
And people complain about, he wants to leave, he wants to stay, he wants to leave. Because he finds a motivation to stay. Which they give him a reason. One to find the code breaker. Yeah.
And Rose got up.
And if he gets on the ship, he can, and then again, he's trying to protect Rey. But he's, again, still foot in and out of the camp. He's like, this is a plan, we can go do that, and plus he's going to get tasered again if he doesn't go along with it.
All right. Did you find him, like, the main humorous character?
I didn't find him, like, super funny.
No.
I think he was more coincidentally funny. He's just circumstantially funny.
I like the when Rose first catches him, he plays off being the hero for the first time.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
His performance is great.
Yeah.
In the thing.
But, okay, let's get into the fucking Casino Planet. What are your thoughts on that?
My major disappointment with the casino was I wanted a Calrissian.
Yeah! What a perfect opportunity to have Lando throwing a few fucking golden dice on
like, Calrissian, I don't even know if Billy D. Williams is still alive. So I don't know if you could have even had him. But I would have liked
replace him with Samuel Jackson.
A young black guy coming in who goes, my name's Han Calrissian. I'm named after some bastard who stole a ship off my father. Or, you know, something like that. But
or you could even have, like, I don't know, like have Mace Windu return suddenly. He's like,
Mace Windu going, no, you could have got some...
How many kids?
That was my expectation. Was like, as soon as you said gambling hall, he's going to be in there gambling, and he's a code breaker.
What if he was the code breaker? That would have been a great way to bring him in.
Dropping the Calrissian, like it couldn't. As I say,
they dropped the Calrissian.
Williams could have done. They could have dropped in the son of Calrissian.
But they dropped in Benicio del Toro, who was...
Which again is an area that where both me and Ben are sort of going... It's the one area where like... Because he's a very big character. And Benicio del Toro is an excellent actor, and a very experienced actor, and he's playing off two good actors, don't get me wrong, but two fairly inexperienced acters. And I feel a little bit, and I agree with my brother on this, so I will quote my brother, because this is his opinion that he's
Ben, you're being quoted.
That he overshadows that scene a little bit over the top of those two actors.
Yeah, it's like his character, the way he's portrayed and directed, is a bit of an extreme, whereas they're a bit more like your stereotypical, you know, like bread and butter.
Yeah,
and it's just they're just as weirded out by him as we are, I feel. And what going back to that,
I feel like that is probably the one area where I think a character is probably as underdeveloped.
Did you enjoy the rest of the plot though? Especially where it led.
The plot itself, I don't mind. Sneaking onto the ship, finding the thing, getting betrayed by your creepy little slicer hacker dude.
Your Mac from Indiana Jones 4.
Yeah, fine. What I don't like is, I'm not sure the logical like most of the characters I can see a logical progression, like Luke and his choices, Rey and her choices, that's fine, but him, you know, his motivation at any one point I can never really nail down, and he takes the little thing off the bracelet or the necklace off the girl,
and uses it,
her last thing that she has from her sister,
but he uses it in a cool way and then gives it back to her, doesn't he?
Gives it back to her. What the fuck is that?
So that won me over at that point as a character. I thought, oh, he's cool, but then he betrays them.
And so that's.
And at what point did he actually get into communication? I don't know. Maybe there's a whole way they could have done it. But what about like the fact that it didn't actually lead anywhere? Did you like the fact that it shows a mission that fails, even though we've invested so much time with that storyline? Because it ultimately doesn't lead anywhere.
Life, so.
Do we need that in a Star Wars film though? In a pure escapism fantasy.
That the Death Star was a complete successful rescue plan. Trash compactor. They did get out of the trash compactor eventually, but it wasn't entirely successful and didn't come out.
Yeah, but that's what an adventure is. Like, you get challenged by things and then you succeed. Whereas they get challenged by things and they completely fail, and it doesn't have any consequence to the story at all, except for shoehorning a potential future protagonist for Rian Johnson's future trilogy sequels, which I fucking hope he doesn't get. Sorry.
Oh, like, as I say, different opinions, and ultimately, from what I understood from Rian Johnson's, the quotes that I've got, which I'll listen to him over fanatical Star Wars people, like, a lot of the stuff he goes, I got told I could write within these boundaries, and he wrote this story, but the third story is written.
The third film?
Yeah. This is the impression I got from his quotes, saying, like the fact that, you know, he got told he could do whatever he liked to Rey's parents. Yeah. Because they go, we've already sorted out what we're doing with her, you can do what you like.
Alright.
JJ has a plan at least, like a rough plan.
Ooh, okay.
Like,
This is giving me a little bit of hope here. So JJ actually